May all beings be happy. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be free from harm. May all beings love life. May all beings awaken. Welcome to another Cuke Audio podcast. I'm DC Poobah of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, preserving the legacy of Shunryu Suzuki and those whose paths crossed his, and anything else that comes to mind. I pray that you and yours are safe and comfortable and free from economic hardship and able to get out and do whatever it is you want within the confines of the universal precept of do as little harm as possible. Today we have a guest, someone whose paths crossed Shunryu Suzuki's, Charles Hoy. Those of us who were there with him back in Zen Center remember as Chuck Hoy. He's tall. Gosh, I asked him how tall he is, and he didn't answer. He just said he was, in an email. He said he was sorry when Lage Carlson came, it was 6'8", because Lage was taller. So let's guess Charles at 6'5", and he can correct me if I'm wrong, but and I will fix that in a subsequent errata broadcast. Well, my dog Bandita just jumped up on this bed with me. Hi there. And she's licking me while I talk. I sit on him. My studio is our guest bedroom, which I've commandeered, and I sit on the edge of it. I brought a table up, and I like that because I can sit cross-legged, or I can have my legs down. Anyway, Chuck's an old Zen student. He's from Nebraska. You'll learn all that. So I don't need to go on further. Oh, I want to say one thing. When I'm talking to him, he asked me what I'm up to, what's it like living here in Bali. And so I say some stuff. And I left it in because I thought, well, a little bit from me, a little bit from him. But then I was thinking, my God, so many people ask me that. That's probably what I'm, because I tend to say the same thing. I'm probably just, repeating the same thing over and over. So, hey, if you're one of the frequent listeners, tell me if you think, because I don't want to repeat things over and over, but I'm old and in the way. That was a Grateful Dead album. I always loved that name. They weren't quite old and in the way when they put it out. So let me know if, oh God, yeah, you've said that, maybe a dozen times. And you can send me an email with this feedback at dchad@cuke.com, dchad@cuke.com. And while you've got the cuke.com in mind, you can go there and make a generous donation to Cuke Archives to help keep us going here. Because we're very short on consumer products. You'll just see on the homepage and on some of the other pages, many of the other pages, you'll see a donate button or the donate word. Just click on it. You go to the donate page and it lets you know how you can send a check or make a PayPal donation for as little as $1 a month. All right, that's all. So listen, we'll get right into talking with Charles Hoy just as soon as we have finished our pause to meditate. So when you hear the bell, hit pause if you want, and meditate or whatever for as long as you wish. And when you're ready to come back, just hit unpause. We'll come back at the same time to hit the bell to end meditation or whatever. And we'll give Mr. Hoy a call.
Comment ça, Monsieur Chadwick?
Hey, how's it going? How's it going? So,
Good. Good morning.
good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, I have a question. Uh, so
Hey,
we
go
used
for
to
it.
we used to call you Chuck. Do people call you
Yeah.
Charles now?
Oh, I get called all sorts of things, as I always have.
So,
even Chuckles is still alive and well.
So do I call you Chuck? Is that like I used
Oh,
to?
Chuck is fine. Charles is fine. Yeah, no problem.
What does your wife call you?
She calls me Charles.
Oh, I call you
And
Charles.
sometimes, well, and then I always say, well, I have this neurotic aspect of myself, which is called Chucky Poo.
Oh, I I like that. That's good. Well, that sounds very nice.
Well, and then sometimes I add Roshi on the end of it, Chucky Poo Roshi.
Oh, and I like that. That's very prestigious.
Well, we all tend to take ourselves a little seriously. It's one of the great mysteries of life. As long as we're still thinking about ourselves and all that good stuff, etc. Well, you know
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
You know
indeed.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
Oh,
I was actually the reason I wanted to chat. I wanted to talk about you.
uh-huh.
Because I really appreciated what you did with Lori. And that was fantastic, David. Not like you did the whole show, but you certainly helped set the tenor for that sharing and everything, and it was really sweet.
Oh.
His brother kind of went on and on, but that was just part of the ball game.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you were there. That's great. That's great.
yeah.
Yeah. Um yeah, and I got to spend time talking with Lauren quite a
Uh
bit.
huh.
Uh, oh, in oh gosh, I guess the last month of his life. Um,
Uh huh.
and he was a key person for me when I first started sitting at Zen Center. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, I
Great.
didn't. I read that. I wasn't aware of that. Yeah, how sweet. Yeah, how generous.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, come stay at my place. No problem.
Yeah.
You
Oh
know.
God, that was great. Uh, yeah, it was like having a little practice center living in it. Um,
What year was that? Was that like 66 or
yeah,
7?
66.
66. Okay.
Yeah, and I hadn't been around long before I heard people were looking at this land actually not Tassajara, but near Tassajara,
Uh-huh.
to, to buy and build a monastery. And before I knew it, we'd bought Tassajara. Uh,
Yeah.
well,
Did you have like a connection right away, or did it kind of grow on you, or was it just like, oh, this is the place? How was it? How was it for you?
well, I decided uh, I was looking for a place to meditate. Uh,
Uh-huh.
I was looking for a teacher and people to meditate with. I had the idea that would be a good thing to do. And so,
Isn't that interesting? That's exactly when I moved to San Francisco. If you don't
uh
mind me interrupting you for just a second.
huh.
I didn't know a soul in nobody.
Yeah,
But it was like it didn't make any difference. I knew I would bump into some people. I didn't know who or what group or this or that, but to practice meditation with. That was it. You know?
oh, really? 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 Uh, yeah, I decided I liked it, so I thought, well, I'll sit here every day for a year, see how I like it. So I
Uh
didn't have to think about it after that. Well, so um, where where do you come from?
huh. Is that a Zen question or is that just an ordinary
Just
question?
ordinary.
Well, you should check out the temperature in Nebraska, man. It
It,
is fucking cold there, dude.
do you come from Nebraska? That's what I was wondering.
It is like, do you know where Resolute, Canada is?
No.
It is an Indian village. I don't know the name of the Indian tribe in the northernmost tip of the Northwest Territory. Well, right now in Nebraska, it's as cold as Resolute, Canada, which is in the Arctic up there. It's just. I think on Sunday, the low is like this without the wind chills, like a negative 22. It's like cold.
Mm. Mm. That's amazing. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, it got real cold where Nels was from in Denmark.
Oh yeah, yeah,
He'd
yeah. Of
talk.
course.
He'd talk about that. Uh, wow. Uh, Nebraska. Was anybody else from Nebraska?
Nobody. I'm just thinking, was anybody else? I don't. I know Katagiri, years later started or was, kind of would stop by once in a while at a practice place in Lincoln. But
Omaha
I
too.
don't think,
Omaha.
yeah, I don't think so. I don't think anybody, at least, I was thinking, one other thing I really appreciated, kind of somehow I was looking on your website and kind of bumped into this, the whole Claude Dallenberg story, his last few years. It was
Mm.
like, man, that was so sweet. You just, you got something special there. You really jump in and just do the dirty work or the great work, whatever label you want to put on it. That's fantastic. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
because Claude was somebody I just loved Claude. I remember I'd see him and I'd just brighten up. Just
Yeah.
a sweetheart. You know.
Yeah. He was like the adult. Well,
Well, he also wasn't into the heavy duty, Zen, the whatever you want to call that little uptight Zen thing. Well, it
well, he
certainly
was.
can get uptight, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He first started his first interest. I don't even know if it was his first interest in Zen or Buddhism. It wasn't just that. I mean, he went to he was interested in the Quakers and
Yeah. Yeah.
all. he was interested in peace and justice and stuff. He started going to Alan Watts lectures in 1949 up in
Oh my God,
Chicago.
really?
Yeah,
Oh my God.
and he followed Watts to San Francisco, and he'd been
Oh, I
involved.
didn't know that.
Yeah, he'd been
Huh.
involved with Sokoji uh, uh, before Suzuki arrived from America. I mean, arrived from Japan to America.
As you probably, remember, Alan was on his way down to Tassajara. When was that? Like 1969 or 1970, and never made it. At least the story, as it circulated around, he got drunk and never made it down. You
Oh well,
know.
he came in. I think it was 71. Yeah, he came in 71 and spent time there.
He
Spent
did
time with
well.
Suzuki Roshi
Okay, well, I get to the center or to Tassajara.
to Tassajara.
He did because I remember I was down there in '71, and I know he. I guess somehow whatever happened, that doesn't make that much difference. Somehow the story, as I heard it or remember it, was he didn't make it.
Hmm.
But anyway.
Oh no, he made it.
But
He spent an
hey, if
evening
you
with Suzuki Roshi, and Nils was there because he was Suzuki's Jisha,
yeah
and
yeah
in 71, and trying to I guess Jano was there, Alan's wife, and
uh-huh.
Alan was there the day before, and he
Oh
he
great,
he
okay.
he was there the next day talking to students. He had started drinking again. He got nervous coming in. I think he hadn't drunk in a while, and started drinking. But that was all right. Uh,
Hey, yeah.
uh, yeah. Uh, hmm. Yeah. Um, well,
So you were obviously you were there. Yeah. Well, how long were there? Like for 3 or 4 years? I know you were there. I think most of the time I was there. At least I remember seeing you around. You know.
well, I moved there shortly after we bought it, and uh, I lived there most of the time. Uh, I mean, until uh, Suzuki died. After he died, I moved back to the city and became the work leader there. But
Uh huh.
I lived there most of the five, let's see, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71. I lived there most of that
Wow.
time. Um,
Of course, you remember Ravain Ben Human, of course.
oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people the Ravain story, because he went again. The story as I heard it, some of these stories, it's like who knows, but anyway, I didn't see it. I heard about it that he, sounded like something Ravain would do. He was down there for the summer. End of the summer, he's supposed to go back to the city, because you got to practice in the city for a semester or two or whatever you call it, and he went outside the gate and sat in full lotus. After a few hours, somebody came out and asked him, "Well, Ravain, what are you doing?" And he said he was going to sit there until he died or they let him in.
That's quite possible. He did something like that, I remember. Um, uh, yeah, that's something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Ravane did pretty much um, nothing but extreme things. Uh, uh,
we all have our different trips. It's kind of the karmic purse or duffel bag.
right,
So yeah.
right. Um, so So you came there from Nebraska. What led you there? Why you said you were just in San Francisco, and what year was that?
That would have been, I mean, I was kind of a Catholic boy, the 1 minute story, and the Catholic mystical thing just was, that was part of my ticket. When I'd go to the Catholic mass and the priest would say, Deum quilifica juventutem meam. I mean, I was just kind of like in mystical union with JC, Jesus Christ.
Oh, so you liked
And
it? Yeah.
that was the karmic link, but
Yeah.
the problem with that, for me, given my other stuff was, when emotional stuff would come up, I mean, merging with the Godhead doesn't quite help you communicate with people, and you got some anger, some this, some that. It doesn't help a whole lot.
Hmm.
And but I was on Skid Row in Seattle when I was, God, probably 19.
Hmm.
And there was a heroin addict who I would go to the drugstore and get terpene hydrate and codeine cough syrup for this guy. And he told me about Krishnamurti. I think Krishnamurti actually saved my life because, he's so just, this is it, sweetheart, all this mystical stuff, it was more like, it's more kind of Zen without the Zen aspect. What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you seeing? This is the ticket. And, from there.
So wait a minute.
Kind of,
He told you about Krishnamurti. Did you then read about Krishnamurti, or did you go down to Ojai and meet him?
No, I didn't do the meat thing. I would open up a book by Krishnamurti, and I could only read 2 sentences, and it would just fucking blow my mind. Because I was used to things like, well, I'm sure, read The Perennial Philosophy by Aldous Huxley and all.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good stuff. But if you're kind of a neurotic, half psychotic mess, it's not so helpful for you, man. You're just trying to, maneuver through your life and say hi to somebody,
Ah.
And but no, Krishnamurti was like, oh my God, I couldn't believe it, because it was so simple and so ordinary, but it still, in its ordinariness, it had the mystical aspect, and it just, etc. So yeah. And that eventually, a few years later, San Francisco, and basically I was working at the Good Samaritan Community Center. That was my job,
in
down
Seattle?
in the Mission District. No, this was when I got to San Francisco.
Oh, uh-huh.
And there was a guy there by the name of, oh God, I can see him. I just can't remember his name right now. Polish Jewish guy, sweetheart of a guy, but he gave me the wind bell. I think the first wind bell, or the second one, whatever.
Well, the first wind bell came out in 1961.
Oh, okay. Well, obviously it wasn't then. It was the one that had the piece about Tassajara, etc. in it.
That's 1967.
Yeah.
No, 66.
Yeah.
66. There was, I guess, something about getting the horse pasture. Yeah. But anyway,
okay.
Around then, 67. There was a spread on Tassajara. We already had it. Is that the one you saw?
I think that might have been it. But I wasn't there till probably the fall of '68 when I started. etc. We all have our stories. How's your life in Bali? How are things for you?
It's simple and compact and
Uh-huh.
concentrated, and we live in a small world, uh, and the COVID virus made it more simple, more compact, more
Yeah.
small,
Yeah,
a little
absolutely.
quieter, and
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's good for I have a pretty nice schedule, and it's really good for concentrating on work. Um,
What kind of stuff do you do, David? I know you're working on the Cuke.com. Is that your main thing, or do you have a few other things that you kind of are chewing on?
well, there's Cute.com, there's ShunyuSuzuki.com, uh,
Oh, okay.
there's the, and then I post on three blogs. Uh, the
Okay.
Cuke What's New, no, two blogs, Cuke What's New and Cuke Nonsense blog, and then I do these
I
podcasts.
think I would like the Cuke nonsense blog. I'll have to check it out. That's my kind of blog,
Yeah,
David.
well, all right, see. Um, yeah, well, that has all sorts of stuff. It could have a
Oh
little
yeah,
something from my
yeah.
life. Yesterday, I posted uh, something about Katrinka, a little something that happened with her, or I could do a link
Uh-huh.
to some climate change. Uh, I focus on. I never do anything political. Uh, Climate
Yeah,
change,
yeah, yeah. Good idea. Yeah.
uh, and I'm working on another book, Tassajara Stories, and
Oh yeah.
uh,
Fantastic.
uh,
Fantastic.
and I'm working
Are
on.
you working with Schneider, David Schneider at all? I think he's putting together another book, isn't he?
Yeah, he's I've been in touch with him about that for a long time, and I have a thing called Cuke Press, and
Uh-huh.
his book is going to be a Cuke Press book.
Oh, fantastic.
But the way we're doing it, uh, see, Cuke Press, I just put a few books up that I had self-published books, you know,
Yeah.
done for
Yeah.
fun, and a friend's book. Uh, a monk who lives here, a guy from America, but his monk name is Monea. There's Monea Chronicles. That's a pretty nice little
Uh-huh.
book of poetry. But Cuke Press was started for the book A Brief History of Tassajara.
Oh, okay.
And that's the reason I started it. Uh, but I don't do any. I just put the books up there, and I don't do anything to promote it. I mean, it's an LLC, but
Uh-huh.
uh, you know, except for mentioning it on Cute.com and What's New and on Facebook. Uh, but yeah, yeah. So and it's also good here for exercise, for swimming and walking, and it's inexpensive uh, to live here, and we don't have a vehicle. I never drive. Uh,
Oh,
our
so you just kind of
footprint.
walk to the store.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
definitely. But and also a lot of stuff gets delivered here. And delivery's very cheap, labor's very cheap, uh, and yeah. Most expensive thing is like when Katrinka goes back to America, which she does every year. Um, uh, but and I haven't been back. I haven't been back in. I left in 2013. Uh, and
What
that's it.
what took you to specifically to Bali? What was the draw?
Well, Elin, I was married to Elin. I don't think you ever met her. Oh no, maybe you met her. Anyway,
I don't think so.
we were together for 16 years, and
Whoa.
we had lived
Was
in
she at the 100 ceremony? Because I think I was there for that.
what
Yeah, I
year?
was.
What year was that?
Well,
Uh,
that was I
oh,
don't
it's that.
remember. No, it
Oh,
was the 100th
2004.
birthday.
2004.
Yeah, yeah. Because you remember we all went to Green Gulch Farm. I think you got up and sang a song or two and said a few things and et cetera, et cetera. No, it was a sweet little gathering
Oh,
out at the farm and you know the formal stuff at the
oh,
city center.
yeah. I remember there. But 2004 is the year that Katrinka and I got together. Wait a minute,
Okay.
is that right? Yeah. 2004. Yeah, and Elon and I, well, actually, we separated in '99, but continued living together, and then she moved out in 2001. So I think the Green Gulch, the 100th year of Suzuki Roshi's birth, uh,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
went there by myself. Uh,
Okay.
oh, that was a horrible day. That's the
Oh,
day Graham Petchy and I were going to go together, and he called me this morning, and he said that he wouldn't be able to go, uh, and he was being very formal, and
yeah.
he was very close. I mean, I know he lived walking distance from where I lived in Sebastopol, but finally he said that his son had been in an automobile accident, and
Oh my goodness.
then after I came back, uh, I went to the hospital, and Mark was almost dead. He was in a coma,
Oh my goodness.
and we had profound brain damage from it. Uh, and he was 19. Yeah, that was.
Oh my goodness.
But he lived. They didn't think he'd live. They didn't think he'd come out of his coma. He came out of his coma. I mean, this is all after periods of, I don't know, months. And
Yeah.
then they thought he'd never do this, never do that. He's still profoundly brain damaged because he had brain stem damage. But after a while, it was normal. And you go, hey,
Yeah.
hi, Mark, and he couldn't talk, but he could smile, and it was just
Wow.
part of the home. Uh, but it was
Yeah. Yeah.
disturbing to other people. I remember bringing somebody over, John Burmell, bringing him, who used to go to Tassar and do work in the summer, and died in a forest fire in Northern California.
Huh.
Anyway, I remember bringing him over there, and he was really shook up. And he went, "Oh, that's so terrible." And I went, "What?" And
Yeah.
I went, "Oh yeah, there's something wrong there. I forget."
Oh yeah. I
because
mean,
because they go, "Hey,
it's
look, Mark can move his own wheelchair, with his feet." Uh,
yeah.
and we go,
Yeah.
and we go, "That's great." And I said, and I could make Mark laugh by saying anything about sex or pot or making fun of
Uh-huh.
his father. uh, but anyway, that day I remember, and Mark had
Oh
been to
yeah.
Japan and had he took video footage of the temple where Suzuki Roshi was born. Uh, oh
Oh.
God, I can't remember the name of it right now. Let's see, town in Hiratsuka. Uh, oh well. Anyway, Mark took video footage of it, and another friend of mine took still pictures, and I've been there. Hoitsu had never been there, or at least he hadn't
Oh yeah.
back then.
Yeah. Yeah. Of
Hoitsu,
course.
Suzuki's son, who's the abbot of the temple there.
Yeah.
He told me that that his father, when he was dying, asked him to go there. And he said, "Oh, yeah, and I never have." And it's not that far from his temple. It's like you can get there within 2 hours, taking train, and then
Oh,
you got to
really?
take
Oh, my goodness.
a taxi from the train station. Nice little temple. Let's see now. Uh, I can't remember
So,
it right now.
so David, do you still practice zazen?
Oh, yeah, yeah, every morning, and then throughout the day, uh, uh, and yeah, um, it sort of extends from the sitting to the walking to
Yeah.
washing dishes and everything. How about you?
I have been. I wouldn't call it zazen. Basically, kind of crossing my legs and sitting anywhere from 10 minutes to 15 minutes to an hour. But in the last couple of months, I've decided to take up running again.
Wow.
And I realized with my elder bod, I'm sure you know about that. It's like there's certain things that don't go so well together. Like running and then crossing your legs in yoga. It's just
Yeah.
like no.
Yeah.
I was good for a while, and then all of a sudden my knees said, "Fuck you, Chuck."
Wow. Well, that's amazing that you
So
would even think that. I walk a lot and I swim. Swimming is I try to swim every other day.
oh, that's fantastic.
And we
That
live,
is so good.
yeah, we live, like a 10, 15-minute walk from the beach, and it's there's a reef out there, so it's a very calm water,
Uh-huh.
and it's really good for swimming. And there's a swimming pool just a couple of minutes walk from here in a nice villa that I can use. Uh,
Well, I think I told you in our last conversation, when was it, a year and a half ago, that we don't have the ocean. Of course, I'm in Santa Fe right now. Actually, we have a little casita that I use. I just got back from a retreat up there for about 10 days, but just outside of Arroyo Seco on the way up to the Taos ski basin. But here in Santa Fe, we have our little Frigidaire out in the backyard, which is about the size of a coffin. Pretty. So, as my friends the few who can appreciate my sense of humor, I say it's coffin practice. That we have water.
what did you say? A
A
Frigidaire?
Frigidaire, yeah. Basically, it's a chest Frigidaire. You can visualize that.
It's that's a refrigerator.
Yeah, and it's filled with water, and we keep it about 36 degrees or so. Well, today it was like 40, and we get in it. I get in just about every day for 5 minutes. And
Whoa.
the best thing I've ever done for health stuff. It's just like,
Wow.
oh my God, inflammation. Also it really zaps your head.
Well,
You got
and you
any?
live in cold weather. There in Santa Fe.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, in the winter. I know I've lived in Santa Fe. Uh, wow. That's something. Bob Halpern lives in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and he'll go into the ocean. He has a regular practice to get in cold water in the morning.
Oh,
Uh,
in fact, Bob was one of the people. I remember when I came back from Tassajara and moved into the city center. I remember I was taking a shower one morning, and Bob said, "Be sure to take a cold shower at the end." And I've done it ever since.
wow. Wow, that's very interesting. And my son Kelly, who lives in Spokane, where it was
Uh-huh.
0 the other day, and he just came back from a month in Mexico, which was just heaven for him. And and he works outside. He's got a tree trimming business. 0.
Oh, cool.
He thinks cold showers are a, a really good practice. Uh, Now I tend to take a shower upstairs. We have a upstairs and downstairs bathroom, and I leave the downstairs one for Katrinka, the one in our bedroom,
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah.
and basically that room, it's pretty big bedroom. That's for her stuff. I have a little bit. I have something in a nightstand next to our bed, but I use mainly the one upstairs, and there's an on-demand heater. No, actually, the one up here isn't on demand. Our main water heater's on demand downstairs. There's a little electric heater up here for it, but I have it turned off. Uh, but for me to take a cold shower, which I'll do most mornings and most evenings, and
Wow.
frequently
Cool.
during the middle of the day. It can be a little cold, but it's like taking a cold shower in the summer in America, as in most places.
Oh yeah, it's I know, when it's really cold, like visualize it. Actually, I think in a couple of days it's going to be down to about, oh, I think the low is going to be about 1 degrees here, and
Oh,
we'll see if I
really?
make it.
It's
And
uh,
we'll
yeah.
see if I make it into the cold. Because those days it's really hard getting in the cold tub. It's like, your mind is telling you, at least my mind, an idiot. And then the last thing it says, if I'm not listening to it, it'll say, you could die in there.
Wow. Wow. That's
But
something.
it's,
That's really something. At Tassajara, um, I used to go into the creek in the winter. Now, Tassajara, the coldest I think I ever saw it was like,
yeah, we lost connection there for just a second.
oh yeah, that
But you were talking
happens. That happens.
about going into the creek. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I always say, hey, remember to tell people it can disconnect, and I never remember. Um, yeah. Um, uh, Bob Halpern and I used to go down to the baths at night and, go into the hot tub, and, when everybody was asleep,
Uh-huh.
and then go into the steam room and then go into the cold creek. And this is in the winter or at any time of year, but
Yeah.
we're talking about winter now.
Yeah.
Um, what I found was the most extreme thing to do was to go into the cold creek first. That, like,
Well,
say,
you know what I do. My wife does a hot shower after the cold tub.
uh huh.
But well, I rinse off in the morning with a brief cold shower, just so I don't take a lot of junk into the frigid air
Mm
coffin.
hmm. Mm hmm.
And then I do my 5 minute stint in there, and then I don't take a hot shower afterwards. I call it the reverb for about an hour afterwards. I'm kind of jumping around half crazy, and it's
Ah,
just it's an incredible. Well, obviously, if somebody has a heart condition or something like that, you should be really careful, because it's a shock to your system.
yeah. I'd
But
say
it's
it depends on what type of heart condition, or, you know,
oh yeah,
you
yeah.
know.
No, actually, I can remember being at Tassajara, and one of the so-called older students said, we first got there, because you're cold all day long. At least I was. And you get into the hot tubs, and it's like, oh my God, life is good. And then
Oh
somebody
yeah.
says the best thing to do to seal in the heat is jump in that creek over there. You go,
Yeah.
oh no.
Well, actually, the going into the creek warms you up, and
Oh yeah, no, it's a good thing. Yeah,
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 because it makes your body produce heat. I found it the most extreme. It really, like, if I went into the hot tub first, and our hot tub would be about usually around 108, and
yeah, yeah.
say into the steam room and get really hot. Then it made it much easier to get into the cold water there,
Oh yeah, yeah. Of
you
course,
know.
of
But
course.
if going
Yeah,
into we had I remember for some years, we had a cable going across there, and in the summer we'd have a little dam outside the steam room, so we could go into this little pool. But in the winter there'd be
yeah.
water going by, and of course a lot of times it'd be too strong to get in. But no, mainly you could get in it, and I'd hold on to that cable and get in, and I would just scream going if I went in first. If I went in first, it was the most extreme thing to go in.
Oh yeah, oh
That
yeah,
generally at Ta Sahara, it would just get around freezing in the winter.
yeah,
It didn't get
yeah.
super cold like Nebraska or even Santa Fe. Uh, Here it'll get down into the low 70s sometimes.
Oh my God, that's like
Yeah,
whoa.
yeah. A cold day
That's
here
just
is, uh, say, in August, down and going to the beach with, with the wind in August, might wear a long sleeve shirt. Yeah. Um,
oh yeah. No, you get in the water there. I mean, what the water's probably what in the mid 60s or something like that in
oh,
the
here.
colder months.
Oh no,
Yeah.
no, no. The water here's.
Oh really?
Well, I don't know. I mean, because water temperature is not like air temperature.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
swimming pool temperature, where it just feels normal, is like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'd say the water here is more like 80 degrees.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Okay.
and
Do you
sometimes,
are you
but you see, this is inside the reef. It's warmer. Uh,
yeah.
it's like a giant swimming pool. It's maybe a few hundred yards out to the reef, and it goes down for about 5 miles. No, about 5 kilometers. Uh,
Oh, cool.
but the ocean can be cool, but uh, generally people don't wear what do they call wetsuits? You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh, and uh, it's a little cool in the ocean, but not like being in the Bay Area and going into the water. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
and
the water in the winter, I can remember, yeah, going into the water down there in the winter sometimes it's like, oh.
yeah,
But
yeah,
once you got numb, you're fine, you
yeah.
know.
Oh, one thing Bob Halpern and I would do is we'd turn the shower on and get under the cold shower and then go jump into the hot tub, and then even jump into the hot tub. There was a railing there. Stand on the railing,
Mm.
and which is what 2.5 feet up or something,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
stand on the railing and jump in. Or we just jump in the hot tub and we go back and forth from the freezing shower to the hot tub.
Are
Uh,
you in much communication with Bob up in
we talk
Halifax?
every now and then. I did a very long podcast with him.
Oh, cool.
We probably connect once a year
Uh-huh.
or some.
How's he doing? I know he's been through a few changes. It's how's
Oh,
Bob doing?
yeah, he's doing really well. He's
Oh, good. Good, good, good.
Yeah, he's he has a regular sitting practice, and he led a sitting practice there. Uh, more the way he explained it, more as an administrator. He was the one who was there every day uh,
Uh-huh.
for years. And
Huh.
now, yeah, uh, but yeah, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. Um, so I want to go back to when you came to the Zen Center. Uh, you were with that. Um, what were you working with that that center that helped homeless people or whatever? What was it called?
Oh, that was the Good Samaritan Community Center on the Mission District. It was part of the Episcopal Church, and
Oh,
I think it was like 4 stories. They had Head Start, they had nursery school, they had encounter groups, they had a theater, they had a youth, just everything in the world,
oh my
And I
gosh.
was like the janitor, and also would help out, however, with the different groups.
That's
So.
wonderful. That's wonderful. I wonder if is that still going? I wonder.
I don't. I looked it up, God, a few months ago. I don't remember.
Uh,
I
uh-huh.
think it may still be happening down there.
Well, there's a lot of
It's
stuff like that happening. Uh,
oh yeah, no,
hmm.
that's been around, yeah, for forever and ever. Yeah, I'd get
Yeah.
up at 3:30 in the morning and get all dressed and everything, catch the bus over the other side of town
Is
for
that?
the
Wait a minute. You get up at 3:30 in the morning for what?
to do zazen on Bush Street.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Wow. And when you first came there to Sokochi on Bush Street, what was your oh, you heard about it because of this guy who worked at that center, or either worked
Yeah,
there or he was a guest. Um,
yeah, yeah. No, he was there. Yeah, the Good Samaritan Community. It's a resource center. Is still there in the same place on Potero Avenue. Yeah,
oh,
cool. They're still out there.
oh, that's
Yeah,
wonderful.
they're still doing it. Yeah.
And so,
And you know who taught me? The first person I remember going in the door who taught me how to sit zazen was Stan White.
all right,
I'm sure Stan is no longer with us because I
he
saw him. He was living up in Taos, I think in a motel or something.
no,
And
no,
he
he
was,
had a place. Well, maybe he'd moved into a motel, but he had a place there.
well, but yeah, but he was 95 or so when I bumped into him, and yeah, he looked like he had not too much longer.
He,
I think he was half blind, etc. But
yeah,
it
he
was
died
certainly
at,
great
I
to
think
see
he was
him.
95 when he died.
Okay.
Yeah, I would visit him there when I passed through the years. What a character, right? So he gave you zazen instruction.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what'd you think about that?
Well, I was already, doing some kind of meditation for 6, 7 hours a day. Just kind of put it in the billfold and start doing it. Do you remember a guy? I'm sure you do, since you were around. His name was Rob. Was it Go?
Gove, Gove.
He was a photographer, right?
He was a sculptor. He
A
is a
sculptor.
sculptor. He lives in Italy, and he's still
Okay,
a
I
sculptor.
remember coming out of Zazen one day, and Rob pulled me to the side. I was, whatever, and he said, "Oh, what was the exact? I don't remember the exact words, but he said, if you follow your breathing, it's like you're on the out in the bay, and you can navigate your boat." because you have, you can, he didn't, explain it too much more. So he suggested that I follow my breathing. And I remember it was like, so impressionable, somebody's been practicing for a while. I remember it was almost like you certainly do it much better then than I can now. I remember, basically for the next 2 or 3 years, I think I was almost with every single breath. It's like, oh, he's right. Good practice. So.
No kidding. Yeah, he was a very disciplined person, and
yeah, that's what I remember too. Yeah, he was. Yeah,
yeah,
he was one of those guys. Yeah.
Yeah, he like on the Saturday mornings when we had a longer schedule with breakfast and work.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he'd be out there he was sort of the work leader of it, is the way I remember it. Or it might just be the way he related to me, and sort of take it seriously and
Oh yeah.
but he was he went to the Art Institute and which had a number of people who came to Zen Center came from the Art Institute. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Of course. Of course.
And he was down at Tassajara early.
Are you in any touch with Dan Welch? Are you in touch with Dan at all?
Well, I got you in touch with Dan. They're in Santa Fe.
Yeah.
But
I know Dan and I were getting together for breakfast, once every 2 or 3 months, and then COVID happened, and yeah. So anyway, just curious.
That's great. Well, he and I have, kept up with each other through the years. I haven't, we've had a little bit of contact back and forth. Sometimes somebody will get hold of me and want to get hold of him, so I'll get hold of him and I'll say, so and so, but and I'm sort of be a go-between. But I've had less contact with him. I mean, there's just no particular reason. But if I told him he should come here and chill out for a while. I said I thought he'd enjoy it. But yeah, he was a key person there at Zen Center, more at Tassajara. When we first got it.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Wow, you were a serious meditator. You say you were, when you came to Zen Center, you'd been meditating 6, 7 hours a day. And
oh well, if you're a mystical guy,
wow,
it's like it wasn't. I mean, there's meditation. It was more just like. Actually, at that time, I was probably still studying Krishnamurti. And, I just read a couple lines of Krishnamurti. I mean, that's all I could, it's like, if something, you really connect with something, it's like a really good meal. It isn't like you need to stuff yourself. You could, it's so good. Just a few bites is like, I'm good. That's all I need. Yeah.
So, do you remember so Stan gave you mentioned Stan and Rob. Do you remember your first meeting with Suzuki Roshi or Katagiri Sensei or?
Not so much, I mean, back then it was more, kind of bowing, after Zazen,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then when, we moved to the city center, I was the, what was it called? what do you call the person in charge with of the guest students?
Shika.
I was the Shika. Yeah, I was going to say Soku. I was the Shika, and so yeah, we had some contacts there. Actually, I was the Shika on Bush Street also for I think 3 or 4, 6 months, and something like that before we moved over to Bush Street.
Wow.
So,
Well, I didn't even know they had one there. Wow. Huh.
But yeah, I can remember going into, what was it, 1828 Bush Street, and who was it, Chip, whatever Chip's last name was.
Chip?
He was one of the presidents of Zen Center, probably before your time. I think before Silas Hoadley. What was his last name?
No, not Chip. Not Chip.
Anyway, he went off.
You mean Philip? Philip?
No. This guy went off to India and to Arunachala, Ramana Maharshi's place.
Yeah, I spent time there.
And he came back. He had this, I remember walking at 1828 Bush Street, and there was this large picture of Ramana Maharshi. Being kind of a cosmic mystical dude, I looked at that and I thought, who in the fuck is that?
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. So anyway.
Oh, you're talking about Chick Reader.
Chick Reader, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was involved with with the Ramana Ashram, and and he was around in the city. He was never a president of Zen Center, but he was an early student. He was from Mississippi.
Oh, okay.
And he was very close with Silas Hoadley, but I don't think he ever lived at Zen Center in the time when you were there, or around there, did
he? He wasn't. I don't think I ever even met him. People just mentioned his name.
Oh, yeah.
The chick brought that photo over, and somehow, true or not, or imagined, that he was one of the early presidents at Zen Center.
Oh, yeah. No, he was an early student.
Okay.
And I've stayed with him in Laurel, Mississippi, in their home. His grandfather pretty much created the town by starting a sawmill there. I had dinner with Chick and his wife in Santa Fe in 1993 when Elon and I were living there. And, I told them I'd been briefly involved with the civil rights movement in Mississippi, and that I'd known the guys who were killed there.
Oh, wow.
And then, James Chaney, the young black guy who was killed, wonderful fella too. He was from Laurel, Mississippi, and Chick said, well, his father's a contractor in town and has done, he's done work for us. I said,
wow.
I said, oh, I would love to meet him. And then Chick's got their housekeeper arranged when I came through with my son Kelly later that year, because there was a family reunion for Elon in Atlanta. When I went through, Mr. Chaney, we went to meet him at his home in Laurel, and we stayed with Chick and his wife. I can't remember her name right now. He had all the local community leaders there. It was Kelly and me, and it was the most touching meeting Ben Cheney was
Uh-huh.
his name, and uh, we really got along well, and he really liked my attitude because he said so many people want me to hate, and he said,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway, I won't get into it. I've
Yeah.
written about it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have a whole series on Cuke.com called Freedom
Cool.
Songs: My
Cool.
Journey Through 1964.
Uh-huh.
But at anyway, I saw Chick several times. He also sat with Dao Lun, who became, started the city of 10,000 Buddhas, and that
Oh, really?
Chinese Zen, who some people sat with him. It was pretty near Zen Center before he got big. Then he had that place in
Well, he was the
Chinatown.
guy, wasn't he, where it was like really serious.
Yeah, yeah.
Like what were, sessions that went on for a month or whatever.
Oh
No,
yeah.
it was like,
Well,
oh
well,
my God.
yeah. He had monks and nuns and lay people, and
Yeah,
there was a distinction. Whereas in Zen Center, you couldn't, you couldn't define what the difference between somebody who had been ordained a priest
yeah,
and somebody
yeah,
who hadn't. The person who hadn't might be celibate and very serious, and the priest might be married and drinking. Couldn't tell. Um, that's far out, Chick Reader. Yeah, yeah. So, well, you must have had some relationship with Suzuki Roshi and some memories of him.
You mean, well, let's say, what would, he's just, obviously the most important thing is how we kind of take what we're given and what we actually do with it. I guess the memories can be helpful possibly for somebody else, coming along a little bit later,
Mm-hmm.
because it's one of the things. I think it's different at the Zen Center, but like in some of the Buddhist sanghas, like there's I'm not avoiding your question, by the way, but I'll get back to it. I just kind of look around and I go, where are the where are the kids? Sometimes it's a bunch of old people.
Yeah.
And I kind of go, But for me, Suzuki Roshi was just kind of an ordinary guy, and who I really loved and respected. I think when I first started practicing, I saw him, and it seemed like, again, imagined or otherwise, for about the next 2 years, my life was just seamless. And I'm, being a Zen guy, what seamless means. You just kind of, you kind of flow from one activity to the next, and it isn't like you're sitting around thinking about this and that. It's just incredible. And
Mm.
I can remember, going to Tassajara, but I was pretty much a space cadet also. Going to Tassajara was like, oh, fuck, man, it was tough. Because if you're used to sitting around hanging out in space for 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day, Tassajara is not the ticket, man. You're kind of moving. No, it took me about 3 or 4 months to kind of get in that groove. So, but no, it was really I mean, my contact with him was really pretty ordinary. Certainly loved and respected the man. And, that last summer that he was alive, I think as I mentioned in our last conversation, I think many or most of us didn't know he was dying,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you did, along with the other folks who've been
Well,
around for a
no,
while.
no. People didn't know he was dying in the summer. Some people suspected it, but he didn't even, and wasn't sure he was dying at all.
Really?
He'd had cancer in the spring, but they thought they'd gotten it all. I think with the gallbladder,
Okay.
or maybe back in the late winter, early spring, he'd had his gallbladder taken out. But they thought they'd gotten it, and then when he was there that summer, he was very active and everything. His wife was, always worried about him and wanted him to rest and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
then when he went back to the city, he started getting sick, and they thought it was hepatitis. But it wasn't until October that it was known that he had terminal cancer.
Okay, somehow, because I was one of the characters in the, I guess they're called doans or whatever they're called,
Right.
the people in charge of the Zendo.
Yeah.
So we got to meet with Suzuki Roshi, what was it, once every 3 or 4 days. We go over to them, and he was, it's like his mind, I just, presumed he kind of knew, because his mind was so huge. It was just like, oh my God, it was like, whoa. So, and I think I told you the story, once I was, it was for an evening service. I was up on the little raised platform, the altar there, and he was a priest, and I was leading the chants and everything. I was having a little bit of a hard time that summer anyway, for, whatever. And I looked up, and it was like, I don't know what I saw. It was like he wasn't, he was empty. There was nobody there. And it just kind of blew my mind. And I was supposed to be leading the chant. I started sobbing up in the altar. And, he looks over like, could you get it together? Anyway, so, but, yeah, I'm sure everybody has a different take, but, that's kind of, maybe I ate too much of Krishnamurti, so my experience of teachers is fairly ordinary. It's like it's kind of like no big deal. So whether it's Trungpa Rinpoche or I tell people with Trungpa Rinpoche, I say if somebody asks me personally, I go, he was an incredible teacher. Had incredible compassion and brilliance and heart, but it's like there was also, obviously a bunch of tough karma. Well, not that we shouldn't have tough karma, but from with the sangha,
Mm-hmm.
So, but sometimes I have to be careful because there's people who I really love, are really devoted students. So I have to be kind of careful what I say. Actually, one of my best friends is a totally devoted student of his, was one of the guys kind of leading a different Shambhala.
When you say his, you mean who?
Trungpa Rinpoche.
You mean somebody who is now studied with him when he was alive and still is. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And I understand that. People, we all have our different connections, and it's like, to me, it's like, one way that's better than another. It's just like I just kind of like, if somebody's going on and on how wonderful everything is. Sometimes I gotta say, yeah, but there's some
Well,
there's some because they I mean, it's one of the wonderful teachings of Trungpa Rinpoche is we don't have to avoid our dark spots, our shit. That's really the rich part. Without it, our practice is some kind of imaginary God realm thing, which we've all, at least I certainly dealt with for a while, so, but,
yeah, I know what you
so,
mean about the students at well, I don't know what you call it, Trungpa students. Many of them tended to be sort of unquestioningly devoted. It was much more guru oriented in a sense
oh,
than
yeah.
Zen Center.
Yeah, I mean, my ticket was, people, call his drinking enlightened activity. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm not gonna drink that Kool-Aid. I'm not gonna
Yeah,
tell you you're wrong. I mean, I think he was incredibly brilliant, wonderful, incredible heart. But yeah, it's
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. Yeah, uh, he definitely cut his life short drinking.
oh yeah, I can remember being at a huge meeting. It was in 1981, I think, or 82. There must have been 300-400 people up at the big center in Boulder, and one of my buddies, who was a pretty fairly close student of Trungpa Rinpoche, got up in the middle of this whole thing, and Trungpa Rinpoche was already having some obvious ill effects from too much drinking, and begged him with tears on his face to stop drinking.
Hmm.
So anyway.
And what did he say?
Oh, if you've been around Trump for Rinpoche, it's like, oh, he does that kind of high pitched voice. Thank you very much. I don't remember the exact words, but it wasn't. It was just, like, something like, I'll try to do that, or something. I don't remember, but
I,
it was received. It wasn't like put off.
yeah, yeah.
You know.
I think it was maybe it was Jack. Uh, uh, I can't. Jack Weller who asked him. Somebody asked him. I wasn't there, or maybe it was David Schneider who asked him. Yeah, in the city. Uh, Maybe the first meeting that he had with people at the Zen Center.
Uh-huh.
And he was sitting there, smoking and probably drinking some sake while he was talking to people. And he was already known for his drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
Asked him, uh, shouldn't he try to protect his health and or protect himself by, being more careful about his habits? And he said that there's nothing to protect. Um, and
Yeah.
Anyway, one thing about Trump I noticed is you couldn't get the best of him in a conversation. He was always on top. Uh, you know what I mean?
How do you mean? How do you mean?
Um, it, well, to me, he could. If somebody tried to talk to him about they'd like him to live longer, and as Suzuki Roshi felt that,
Yeah.
uh, it couldn't get through to he wouldn't it
Yeah. Yeah.
wouldn't stop him, and he was perfectly comfortable. he said he believed in burning desire out. Uh,
Hmm.
seems to me there's no end to it. But
Yeah.
anyway, uh, yeah, I had some contact with him and loved him, thought he was really brilliant. But you went. When did you start? So you stayed at Zen Center after Suzuki died. How long did you
Yeah,
stick
I
around?
was around till 76,
Uh huh.
and basically I kind of got to the place where, in my mind, it was time to kind of do the whole Zen thing, become a priest or basically split, and splitting, for me to kind of go practice in Boulder and see what's going on there, because Dennis White and Ken Campbell, a couple of buds of mine, had already, you know,
Yeah.
skipped town and were already there. So
Yeah. Yeah. So
so
you
that's
went there and you were
that's
married. You married
I got married to yeah,
to whom?
lady in Boulder.
Oh, you married
Her
in
name was
Boulder.
yeah
Uh
yeah.
huh.
I got married to oh, one of the teachers at Naropa there, and then at least for she was a little bit, and then I think we lasted about 4 years, something like that, and then et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we moved down from Boulder down to Albuquerque, and
Mm.
started the Dharma study group in Albuquerque, and did organized Shambhala trainings and all that good stuff. So
Ah. 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 And when what were you doing to make a living?
I was a computer programmer, but not a very good one.
Well, you were a computer programmer in the mid '70s.
No, actually, in the mid '70s, that's when I left Zen Center. I went up to Boulder and I baked bread for, I think, as a baker for 3 or 4 years, and then started getting into programming. But I was always fairly mediocre at it. I mean, some people, I'm just not a math whiz. Some people have
Mm-hmm.
that logical mind. They can sit down and boom, 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 boom. I could sit down and go, well, I'll try this and maybe, it
Uh-huh.
was all, but, you know, so,
Hmm.
but, uh, but did you ever have to do like the regular job thing, or were you always kind of off doing your own thing?
Oh, wow. Let's see. I worked for state government for for Jerry Brown for a year, and then I did some consulting there. I worked. Well, I was the maitre d' at Green's in Center's restaurant. This is
Oh yeah,
I was a Zen Center company man, say until
yeah, yeah,
'76.
sure.
In '76, I was running the grocery store, and I left and went to Bolinas. And my family had a little money, so I had a little money, not enough to not work. I always had to do something, but I could get by
Yeah.
for a while. And I was living with Liz and Bolinas, uh,
Uh-huh.
and I did things for Zen Center. I did stuff for the state. Uh, I, 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 I I went to Japan for 4 years and uh, taught English uh,
Uh-huh.
and studied Zen with Shodo Harada Roshi at
Uh-huh.
Sogenji and Okayama. And then after that, it's just been writing and archiving.
Cool.
Uh,
Cool.
I would do uh, some, help on like handyman stuff, help friends and get a little money, and I, you know, I lived with John Tarrant, who's a Zen teacher in the Harada
Yeah.
Yasutani line for
Oh, yeah.
for
Yeah, sure.
oh,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
Judy studies with one of his, I guess, his friends. I forget her name now,
Oh,
but
Joan. Oh, does Judy
yeah,
study with Joan?
yeah,
Joan Sutherland.
yeah, with Joan for a few years. Yeah, and
Wow.
also
Yeah.
he spends a number of John's workshops here in town. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So
Well, I wasn't a student of John's. I was a friend, but I'd go sit with their group,
yeah.
and then I, it's when I sold our home in Sebastopol. John asked me. I was over there at his house in Santa Rosa, out in the country,
Uh-huh.
on the top of a, pretty high up there, right at the top. And he asked me where I was going to go after I sold my house. I said, "Oh, I don't know. I just thought I'd drive around." He said, "Well, why don't you move in here?" He said, "You can live in the barn." And that was 2003. And I think
Uh-huh.
we moved out in 2000, at the very end of 2011, beginning of 2012. Katrinka came and started living with me. We got together in 2004.
Uh-huh.
So I sort of took care of his estate. I could hire
Hmm.
people to do anything, but
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sure.
I
Yeah.
haven't really. I worked for the post office for a little bit in '66 when I came to San Francisco. Mainly, I've sort of just gotten by, you know. And
Well, that's a skill.
yeah, and uh, right now there's no more family money. It's donations. I get $168 a month from Social Security. Uh, ta- they take 100 out for 105 for Medicare B, which I can't use.
Yeah.
I pay Katrinka and I pay, oh, I don't know, about $2,600 a year for Medicare B that we can't use unless we're in America. But you don't want to give it up, really. You can get it back if
Yeah.
you give it up, but it's you don't get it back the same. So it's sort of like insurance, long-term insurance. Uh, so yeah, just sort of getting by. Uh, um, so you did computer programming. When I talked to you a year and a half ago, you were doing. What were you do? Were you doing real estate?
No, I actually for about oh golly, probably all total maybe about a dozen years. I worked with a group of scientists who were doing financial analytics for the large banks, large portfolios. I was like a business development guy. In
Oh,
fact, I just finished my last gig with them the end of January. Yeah, it was end of January, just a few days ago.
oh, wow. Well, you're going to do more.
I think I got some scientists in the Middle East got hold of me, and they have a COVID vaccine and supplements and a spray, and uh, we'll see. I'm basically potentially the U.S. representative. I'm kind of getting them in front of some private equity or venture capitalist people, and we'll see what happens.
Oh, wow,
So,
that's really interesting. Have you ever been to the Mid East? Where in the Mid East are they
uh,
from?
Oh, I mean, they're kind of from all over, but they're, the main scientist guy, he lives in Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that I talk with he lives in Turkey at Antalya. I'm not sure. It's on the coast,
Ankara. Yeah.
but
Huh. Wow.
we'll see. I'm kind of taking it. Well, you know how things are. To take it step by step without getting too far ahead of yourself. It looks,
Mm-hmm.
but
That's
that'd be fun.
wow. That's impressive.
So,
That's impressive. And your wife Judy, actually, we got back in touch because I was talking to Judy. She gave me advice
yeah,
on starting Cuke Press because she helps people
yeah.
publish books. And uh, yeah, and she was very helpful. I really appreciated it. Did a little pro bono work for me. and oh, uh, then she wanted to get in touch with Deborah Madison, and I think I helped her with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Basically, yeah. Deborah and Dan basically were doing something. We're doing some work with some of the kids, here in town. And Judy kind of set that up. We're basically
Oh,
there.
oh, that was it. Oh yeah, what does she do there?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically helping the kids. Get with an adult and basically learn a skill. You know.
So
So.
both Deborah and Dan can teach them
Oh yeah,
culinary
cooking.
arts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
so that was kind of my reconnection with Dan and etc. Or just I probably got a boogie, and probably you do too, Dave. Are you in touch at all with Richard Baker, with Baker
Yes.
Roshi?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I
Oh,
am.
cool. How's Dick doing?
Oh, he's good. I think he's 85, and
Yeah,
he's he's been living carefully in Crestone. Normally he spends half a year in Germany, and I've gone to Germany
yeah.
to his center there, and I've spent time
Uh,
at Crestone. Um,
oh, cool.
and he is teaching. He is working with students. He's does Zoom things. He's very clear. I'm in touch with him quite a bit. I mean, he's
Oh,
still,
cool.
he says he feels young with problems. He said he's like a young person who has problems. But
Well,
yeah,
there's. Do you remember what that kind of reminds me a little bit of? John, there was a communication, I think it was between John Quincy Adams and Thomas Jefferson, and I don't know which one was older. I think Tommy Jefferson was inquiring of John Quincy how he's doing. And the response from John Quincy back to Tommy Jefferson was, he described his body, and he said, well, the shingles are falling off the roof, and some of the shutters on the windows don't work anymore. And sometimes the front door, hard to shut the front door. And he kind of went on a little bit, and then he said, but John Quincy himself is doing quite well, thank you, quite well.
ha. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of transcendental perspective on the comings and goings of the bod. But that's cool.
Yeah. Wow. So, do you have any concluding statements? Anything you would like to wrap it up with?
I don't think I do. It's I mean, with our dear friend and teacher Suzuki Roshi, obviously, totally love the man, and so grateful to have spent time with him and practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's I mean, with all of our different teachers, it's like, we all know, well, golly, had I not turned that one corner, who knows what would have happened, you
Hmm.
know? So, but I think that's about it. But let's stay in touch.
Yeah.
It's if I one of these weeks I'll give Dan a call again. We can go out and have a breakfast.
Yeah.
20 feet apart
Tell him
or
hi for
whatever.
me. Tell him hi for
I
me
would
when
certainly.
you see him.
It sounds like you're not going to be making it back this way anytime
I
soon.
have no
So
plans to uh, leave here, but I imagine we will. I don't. I love not having a car and not driving, and you
oh
know
yeah, yeah.
everything. There's like everything is here, and um, uh, people can come here and see me.
Yeah.
um, and you
you
know,
want to you
with
want to see me?
and really, I've never been in touch with so many people so closely as I am now. I know we're not there in person, but
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I really like talking. I like talking better than video. Uh, you know, just talking
Well,
to
the
people.
video kind of gets in the way a little bit, but it's also nice. You know
Yeah.
how the mind is. You see somebody's picture and blah blah
Well,
blah. But hey, it's
yeah,
just our mind.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's I've done some a certain amount of Zoom with people, uh, and mainly Zoom. I've never done a private Zoom meetings, um,
Uh huh.
and I have two sons. And we communicate a lot, and I do with my sister and my
Are you still in
niece.
communication with Diane at all?
Yeah, yeah. I did
Oh, great.
a very long podcast with her. Yeah, she's in
Oh, fantastic.
Spokane. She is doing great. She has a little Zen group there, and she's still a
Really?
body
Oh,
worker.
fantastic.
I don't think
Uh huh.
she's doing any body work right now. We're all sort of waiting to get a vaccine. Well, uh,
Yeah, really.
how far are you away from getting a vaccine? Probably pretty close.
Well, yeah, since I'm obviously a part of the elder group, but I think it should be happening fairly soon. I know friends, well, everybody, if you like work in the school system, obviously you're at the top of the list. So Judy should be getting a vaccine, or if you're a healthcare worker, you're first in line, et cetera, et cetera. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so but well, if we're ever in Bali, we'll not knock on the door.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're we're toying. We don't have the money for it, but I might get some help to build a little guest room on. There's a architect coming over on Tuesday. I know him
Uh-huh.
through Zen Center, through Dell Carlson.
Hmm.
Dell Carlson, and
Oh
they.
my God, Dell! One could never forget Dell. Oh my God, what a sweet guy,
Yeah, they were
sweetheart.
very close with Dell, Elliot and Fami, and with
Uh-huh.
Isan, Tommy Dorsey, and that whole crowd. They weren't Zen
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
but I mean, Fami's from here, but uh, Eric, not Elliot. Eric, he's from Santa Cruz, and Dell taught down in Santa Cruz, or he taught in San Jose or something. I can't remember what the
Yeah.
connection is, but actually, we spread Dell's ashes here.
Oh, fantastic. Oh
Yeah,
my goodness.
yeah.
Oh my
Dell
goodness.
used to come here
Yeah.
and see them, and that's our connection. That's pretty funny. So, but we could build a guest room. I talked. There's a guy who's a carpenter who comes here. He figured he could
Uh-huh.
do it for 15 million. Well, that's like $1,200. I mean,
Oh, okay.
But I was worried about the light and stuff, and it's serious. You know, I have to take the roof off our bedroom. I have to do it when Katrinka's in
Oh,
America, and
wow.
shore up the wall. The wall's not strong enough for a second, and I want Fami to look at it. But I figure all the costs and everything will be more like $3,000. But
Wow.
you know, in America it would be much more. Uh,
Oh, yeah. Probably 30, 30
yeah, it'd
plus.
probably be more
Yeah.
like 30,000 or 20,000. It's not going to be big, but the thing is, I've turned our guest room, which is small, upstairs into a studio, and it's the
Uh-huh.
best room for recording. And
Hmm.
you know, Katrinka says, well, as soon as we have a guest, and we don't have many guests, very few, very few. But you know,
Yeah.
I've got to do it somewhere else. And I've got a room up here, which is another bedroom that is just
Yeah.
for my stuff, you know.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and I guess I could record. I could record in there. I mean, I don't need that much. But if we had a nice guest room, then Clay, my younger son, he and a partner of his had a baby, and they've been here. Not
Oh.
Clay, but the mother and our grandchild
Uh-huh.
were here for a month. Be nice to have a little bigger space for them. So we're
Oh,
looking into
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Uh,
Well, I'm sure you got all sorts of places you can stay, if you're coming to Santa Fe, but you can just add ours to the list.
oh, I will. I
It
will.
sounds like most likely you're gonna stay put.
I would love to go back there. I used to go through Santa Fe and Taos. I mean, from the 60s. You know, when I go back to Texas.
Well, as these bodies age, we're a little less inclined to travel all over the place.
I'm not interested in
I kind of think
traveling.
of
I'm not interested in
uh
traveling. I'm not interested in traveling to
yeah,
other parts of Indonesia. I mean, there's a nice island 30 minutes off here. We go there. I go somewhere for an hour, 2 hours.
yeah.
Uh, I I'm not interested in traveling anymore. I I
Yeah.
You know, when I stay home and work, I get out and walk and I go to the beach. But I get out so little that when I get out, like I'll go to the beach, say, once or twice a week. So it's little enough where I go there, I go, oh, this is really beautiful. This is really nice, you know?
Well, also, I mean, the hormones and everything are slowing down a bit. It's just like, I mean, just to sit, like I was up in Taos, this casita, big, incredible, beautiful area. Just about 10 minutes before 10 miles before the Taos ski base, and just sitting there, just kind of, don't need to do a whole lot. I
Oh,
got a few projects I'm working on, but that's all. So
what sort of retreat was that you did?
what?
You did a retreat up there. You said up beyond Arroyo Seco. Arroyo Seco's 9,000
Yeah,
feet. Uh,
yeah.
what sort of retreat?
Well, do you realize who you're talking to?
Well, I mean, was it a private retreat or was it
Oh
Zen?
yeah, no, it was just me. Yeah, yeah, it was like,
Oh, oh, I
you know,
see.
I, you know, I'm, you know, I'm always kind of mixing different practices.
Mm-hmm.
Since my knee's been on the blink, for about the last 2 weeks. Mostly just, I just set my little timer for 20, 30 minutes and just kind of sit there in the chair. And there's a few folks that I like to listen to some of their talks. Like, have you ever connected with Ajahn Brahm at all?
Who?
Ajahn Brahm?
No, no.
He's a Theravadan guy who's really, well, he's really funny and delightful, and really
Hmm.
he probably has more hits on YouTube than anybody besides the Dalai Lama. But really, excellent teacher. And then there's another Theravadan guy, Thanissaro Bhikkhu, who's just the opposite. Sometimes I just love teachers who almost teach the opposite way.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, Thanissaro is very strict, and everything is the Buddha said this, and this is what happened in the explanation in the canon, and it's not this, it's this type of guy. But he's good. You know, he's got some real discipline. So mostly, I mean, that's, so it's really just spending time alone. And if you're spending time alone, particularly if I mean, it's not like we have all sorts of contact here, but your mind starts to quiet down a bit, and you kind of get a little bigger sense of the what this is all about. So
that's interesting. You just mentioned two Theravadan guys. What I've done here is Vipassana retreats. That's the best thing going for me. And well, some modified Vipassana with Balinese, Chinese, healer, real down to earth guy. I've enjoyed that, but not much of the Dharma, mainly just the sitting.
You mean not much teaching, mostly sitting?
Of the Theravada, but my one of the closest people here to me is an American guy who was in a Myanmar monastery, and he wears, he's a monk. He was there for years, and he's a monk and wears his robes here. But he lives, he has his own place here. But he'll go for 3 months.
So does he have does he do like retreats and you go practice with him, do some sitting?
He'll do it for 3 months, but I'm 76 and he's 74. I think he's going to turn 75. I've told him he shouldn't do it anymore. It's too hard on him. He's very thin, and he tends to, it's too hard on him. But well, that's interesting. Yeah, well, you're a natural practitioner. You were meditating as I think you were born meditating.
Well, I was meditating when I became an altar boy. Back when.
Yeah.
It's like I remember once it was at the time I was pissed off. I went in for a dokusan with Baker Roshi. So some of those stories where somebody just gets your trip so good, you just hate the fuckers, because they nailed you. He called me a Ronin Catholic. You know what a Ronin is, right?
Uh-huh.
A Ronin is basically, a samurai who basically has lost his teacher.
Yeah, it's a masterless samurai. Yeah.
Yeah, you call me a Roman Catholic.
Oh, that is funny. That is funny.
I should have told him to fuck off.
Well,
No, I've always really, like with all of us, always loved and respected Baker Roshi. I wish, some of the things that happened didn't happen, but, hey, here we are.
That's life. It's people are flawed. Life is flawed.
We're all flawed, man. That's the way it is. Yeah. But those flaws, that's the sand in the oyster, that irritation.
Oh, that makes the pearl. There you go.
That somebody calls you a name, or somebody, whatever it is, where somebody, it's like, oh God, I hate that.
That's good.
So, in Vajrayana, there's a practice, where you kind of, it's called Chud practice. You may have heard of it. You know, we kind of go to graveyards and places that scare you.
What practice?
And it's called Chud, CHOD.
CHOD. Oh, okay.
Chud. But, you know, I've always, and kind of one of the guys I studies with is Anam Thupten. He kind of says it, but I kind of, you know.
Oh, I love him. I love him. He's
great.
Yeah,
he's a real jewel.
I'd go hear his talks in the Bay Area. That was.
Well, you can plug into, actually, yeah. Well, you got my email address. Well, he does these talks about every Sunday. You can live stream it. It might be in the middle of the night for you, but you probably know about that.
No, but I know I can do it. You don't have to live stream it.
Okay.
You hear it anytime.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, you know, there's that sense of, you know, we don't need to go to the graveyard, you know, because you always have that sense, you know how we are. We'd like to have it this way rather than that way, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. But it's nice sometimes, at least, to lean into. Well, let's just do it the other way, you know, the way we would prefer not to have it happen, you know, and see what it's like. So,
yeah.
So.
Well,
but sir, it's really fantastic chatting with you for a bit. Let's let's continue. And I really sincerely, you know, appreciate so much. You know, I'm sure you've done a lot more, but what you did with Claude, and you know, I was just like, oh my God, you know. But you know, you were really there for him, man. That's so cool. You know?
Yeah.
And it wasn't easy, you know?
No, it wasn't.
It's like
you know, I always stayed in touch with him. I'd go see him once a week at the convalescent home where he was. And it was I was always a little scared and apprehensive because he'd lie there in bed and he could only whisper. And once he sat up and looked at me and went, "You stupid son of a bitch," and then lay back down. And he couldn't talk, right? He could. Wow.
Oh,
he was out, and I read, and that's how I got into Ramana Maharshi. Was reading him Ramana Maharshi.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that. Oh my God. Well, you know what Ramana said when he's getting ready to quote? Do you remember what he said?
Oh, I don't know what.
Well, it's a great one-liner. When you're getting ready to, as I call it, to check out a Dodge, you probably had some great one-liners. I'm sure a pile of them. But he's there in front of his disciples, you know, and they're sobbing and everything. And Ramana looks over at him, and you know, it's so sweet and silly and profound, you know. And it's like he looked at him and he said, "Where would I go?" You know, like the vase was broken years ago. You know, it was like, hey. Anyway,
where would I go?
That's a good.
That reminds me. Somebody said to Isan when he was dying, "I'm going to miss you." He said, "Why? Are you going somewhere?"
I remember, you know, talking the last time I got to talk with Isan. I might have told you this. It was so sweet. You know, Isan was, oh my, you know, because Isan and I cooked together for 3 years or 4 in different kitchens, you know, and he looked over at me. You know, he knew he was dying. He said, it's so sweet and tender at the same time. He said, "Chuck, some days I feel so good, I don't think I'm dying." You know, it's just like, oh God.
Wow. Wow. He died in 91. You were with him back then?
I was with. I stopped by. I forget what was the occasion. You know, I was in town for 3 or 4 days, some kind
Uh-huh.
of dealy bob, you know, and hung out with Isan for an afternoon or something like
Oh,
that. Yeah, it was just
wow.
one of those days.
Wow.
You know, it's like, yeah, yeah. So,
Well, well, yeah, it's been good talking with you, but we're not going anywhere. Like Ramana said, we're hanging up, but we're not really going anywhere. We're staying in the same sort of place that the Diamond Sutra called no abode.
yeah, yeah. No abode. Yeah. No, that was actually one of the most. I was thinking before you called. It was one of the most profound teachings of Suzuki Roshi was, you know, just being an ordinary person. You know, it's the whole non-attainment thing. You know,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
with with some effort, the effort is kind of leaning into it a little bit now and then. You know,
yeah,
we kind of get pissed off or whatever.
yeah,
You know, yeah. So. Hey man, I'm gonna boogie, but
yeah.
love you and
Love
let's
you.
chat sometime soon.
Yeah, that
Okay?
was great. That was great. Say hi to Judy.
Okay, will do.
All right.
Say hi to Katrinka, even though she doesn't know me. Okay?
Yeah, will do. You got her name right. Very good.
Okay.
Okay.
Take care, man.
You too.
Okay,
Bye
love
bye.
you. Bye bye.
So thank you very much, Charles Hoy. I appreciate it. That was good. And we look forward to hearing more from you in the future. Oh, and thank you, dear listener, for being with us too. And if you wish to make a donation to help us keep going, just go to cuke.com, cuke.com, and there's a donate button there. And that helps keep the engines running in the Cuke turbines. So until next time, I'm DC Puba of Cuke Audio and Cuke Archives, coming to you from sleepy Sanur with Dogette Bandita, Feline Cuchita, and dear lovely Katrinka. And we're wishing you and yours and all of us a grand awakening.